Very happy Tuesday to you, and welcome to our Elville webinar series. Our topic and objective today is learn all there is to know about Elville and Associates Client Care Program. And your presenter is me, Jeff Stauffer, Community Relations Director at the firm for the first time ever. Looking forward to it very much. And your moderator is me, which I've done many times before. So everyone's been on this presentation before, and you know how this works. So I encourage your general questions throughout and note them in the questions panel, and I'll pause periodically throughout to address them. If I don't know the answer, I will find it for you. And your questions always add a lot of value. They help others learn, so pose those questions anytime. And this morning by email, you received the presentation slides and a sample client care program agreement that I'll be referencing for your perusal. And these materials are also available in the section marked handouts to download at this time. And also, please give me your thoughts about how I did in the post-webinar feedback email that you'll receive. And be honest, it won't hurt my feelings that much. So a question for you. Have you achieved your planning goals? Or have those goals shifted since you last looked at your planning, which may be a year ago or 20 years ago? And whatever it may be, starting here at Elville and Associates, if you're starting at the beginning, you have older documents to update or another situation, Steve Elville and his team are here to be a resource to you, answer your questions, understand your questions, and offer some solutions and a path forward. And a great value in addition we offer here at the firm is to keep your planning on track by way of our client care program. So let's get started learning just about it, a bit about it. So I'm Jeff Stauffer. Just a bit about me. If you don't know me, I know some of you here on the presentation, so thanks for being here. I've been in the firm for 11 years, and I've been the Community Relations Director for that time. I've also been the Executive Director of the firm's charity, the Elville Center for the Creative Arts, which I'm very blessed to be. I went to the University of Maryland College Park, and I got a journalism degree and with a concentration in public relations. So after college, I did what pretty much anybody would do with their journalism degree, and I became a golf professional for about 6 years. I taught lessons and fitted people for clubs, and I managed a golf shop in Crofton, also had a driving range there. But after getting to the PGA program, I realized the last thing I wanted to do with my life was be a PGA professional. So I switched gears and I got into banking, and I was a financial center leader at BB&T, now Truist, for 11 years, and really enjoyed my time there. Met a lot of great people, great employees, great clients, which I still keep in touch with today. And I met Steve at the same time. So I've known Steve about 20 years at this point. And when I was looking to shift gears from banking, we got together and I told him what I was looking to do. And he said, well, I'm looking for somebody to do exactly that. So 11 years later, here we are. So I appreciate you being here today. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about what exactly is the client care program and what's its history. Is the client care program the right fit for my family and me? We're also going to talk about an overview of the benefits included in the client care program membership. Also, very simple steps about how to become a member of the client care program. And I'll gladly take your questions and answer those questions for you. I've always wanted to say this. Steve has always gotten to say this. This is a disclaimer. The following presentation is meant for education only. It's not intended as, nor can it be construed as, legal advice or as a substitute for legal counseling. So I always have to be careful about what I say as far as just providing education or providing legal counsel, because I'm not an attorney. I never will be one. I don't play one on TV. But I've done so many presentations. I probably could give many of the presentations, but not get into nearly the depth that people are looking for. So if you're really committed to keeping your planning updated and continuing education in general, this program is certainly for you. It has a mission, just like anything that's good. And the mission of our client care program, which is synonymous with planning that works, is to provide our clients with the comfort and assurance that their estate and other law plans will work as intended, no matter how their goals and situations may change, and to ensure that planning remains consistent with changes in the law. And there's one thing for certain in life, and that's things change, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse, and that happens. Your planning, I always think of it as an investment in time. It takes some energy, takes a lot of thought if you want to do it right, which we want to help you with here at Elville and Associates. So it is an investment, and you don't want to be one of those people that invests all this time and energy and thought into your planning and then doesn't look at it for 19 or 20 years. Because as Steve always says, what are the odds that your plan is not going to work as intended if you don't look at it on a continual basis as your goals change, as your life changes, as changes in the law occur. So that is the thrust of the client care program, is continuing to maintain and update your planning on a regular basis to ensure that it works as you want it to when it needs to work. So client care program, to me, the way I always say it, it's the highest and most ideal form of partnership between Elville and Associates, your family, your fiduciaries, and you. And we encourage family and fiduciaries to be part of the planning here at Elville and Associates, because if you keep your planning a secret, then your children and your advisors may not be aware of what to do when your planning needs to be put into effect, whether it's your powers of attorney or your healthcare advance directives, your will, your trust, etc. The program ensures that your planning remains updated yearly with changes in law, changes in your life, changes in your goals, and more. And as we just said, things don't stay the same. They're always changing in the world and for us personally. So we want to make sure that our planning that we've invested a lot of time and energy in is going to work. It also includes, and I'll get into more of the benefits later, but probably the most valuable thing I would say, 2 hours of attorney time is included yearly to speak to an Elville and Associates attorney. And considering that the hourly rates for attorneys these days is $400 to $630 an hour, roughly, give or take a couple dollars, right there, if you take advantage of coming in to talk to your attorney once a year, make sure that your planning is where you want it to be, it pays for itself right there. So it's a really good investment in your family and your future and your planning. There's also other things you can do with the 2 hours of attorney time if you choose. If you want to discuss a guardianship matter, or if you have irrevocable trust planning or some type of beneficiary representation that you need, those 2 hours of attorney time can be used for virtually anything as far as planning goes. So a little bit about its history, briefly. So in 2016, which seems like yesterday, I remember when they went, Steve Elville, the attorneys and staff of the firm, traveled to Boston, and they attended a 3-day workshop at the Client Care Academy to really understand what it means to develop an outstanding client care program. And the person that still runs that academy, Vinny Bonazzoli, up in Boston, he will only accept clients that become members of his client care program, which we found a little bit interesting. That's obviously not the way we do it here at Elville and Associates. You can be a client here and not be part of our client care program. It's encouraged, but you don't need to. But we gleaned a lot of good information from the trip up to Boston, and we learned what's our why. Why develop and why invest time and money and assets and resources into a client care program? Well, the answer is to take care of families in what is a relationship-driven environment and program, so the firm will be there when it matters most to you, our clients. So we're one of only a couple of firms in Maryland to have an accredited client care program through the Client Care Academy. The other one is our friend Gary Greenwald of the law offices of Gary Greenwald. He shares an office with us here in the Columbia office, and also has different offices elsewhere. But he believes in continuing education, and he believes in partnership with clients and encouraging updating planning on a recurring basis, just like we do here at Elville and Associates. So if you're in a relationship with your attorney like this, the odds of your planning working as intended are extremely high. And that means the cost of administration is going to be lower. And again, a higher likelihood that your plan is going to work. So there's many different benefits to the client care program. Let's start from the top. Asset alignment review, tracking, and updating. So as Steve always says, your planning will work only if you have a trust-based plan, if your assets, your appropriate assets, are funded or aligned or named into your trust. So we have a funding and asset alignment coordinator here at the firm. Her name is Rebecca Timonen. She's been with us for a long time, probably 7 or 8 years at this point. And she provides an annual review of your asset alignment to ensure that they continue to be properly funded within your estate plan. Now, our assets are always changing. We add accounts, we have accounts switched over from bank to bank or advisor to advisor. If you have that continuity, that's great, but things change again. So making sure that your asset alignment is correct on a recurring basis is very important, and it comes with the client care program. Now, there's typically a fee. We're one of only a few firms that really focuses on asset alignment and funding. We get a lot of clients that come here with binders that have unfunded trusts in them. Nothing was named to the trust, and Steve can typically look at a binder and the color of the binder and say, oh my, I know this trust is going to be unfunded when I take a look at it with the clients, and typically it is. So it's a focus of ours here at the firm. The asset alignment fee is waived if new clients become client care program members when initially signing a retainer to retain us as their law firm. Copies of documents, additional copies of your documents are available. Family care meeting. This is really important. A family care meeting together with your loved ones and your advisors, if you choose, to review and discuss your estate planning while you're alive and well, thinking clearly, so that your wishes are known and understood. So this is a really helpful exercise. If you ensure that your agents and your trustees and your beneficiaries even, it's up to you who's involved in the meeting, get together in one room with your attorney discussing the planning with you and them. Your planning is going to work as intended, which is one of the primary goals. Access to attorneys and staff for document updates. So as I alluded to, the ability to update your estate planning to adjust for changes in your life, such as changes in trustees or a desire to change beneficiaries, your powers of attorney, healthcare agents, or what the terms of your asset distribution is going to be upon your death. And also laws change. Well, we know that laws change all the time. So making sure that your planning is consistent with the current law. And that is all included in 2 hours of attorney time on an annual basis to meet with Steve or Shannon or Lily or somebody else of your choosing. But one thing I would suggest as a best practice is to put that on your calendar to do in the middle of the year. We get lots of members that come in around the middle of November and say, oh my goodness, I need to use my 2 hours of attorney time. So if you want to make sure that you get to meet with Steve or Shannon or whomever, put that on your calendar to contact us, and we'll make sure that we get you scheduled with the attorney that you want to discuss your situation with. And throughout the year, as the leader of the client care program, I always am encouraging people and clients and members to set those meetings sooner than later. We also have a very great exclusive continuing legal education workshops, and these are open to you, your family members, helpers, trusted advisors on many different estate planning topics that are relevant to you. Now, as you know, we've offered hundreds of webinars over the year. We do in-person presentations at special needs organizations, the library. Howard County Library is a great friend of the firm, and many different places. But these workshops through the client care program are exclusive to members. Now, if somebody is interested in the program, if you're on here today and you're interested in the program and you want to check out an event, we always encourage and welcome people to check out an event just to get a feel for what we offer as far as our workshops. Let's move ahead here. Further about the 2 hours of attorney time, again, this can be, it's typically most members use it to update and keep their planning updated. But if you have another situation, revising your documents in case of a life situation change like a divorce or a remarriage, or if you need different types of trust planning like charitable remainder trusts or life insurance trusts, or discussing a business matter, that also is included in your 2 hours of client care program membership. And anything over the 2 hours, if there's work to be done or what have you, that's typically billed at our attorney's hourly rate, of course. Also, a network of attorneys and financial advisors for you. Now, we know hundreds of financial advisors here at the firm and different life insurance professionals and different aging life care managers, and some are better than others. So we want to make sure that after understanding your situation, we will get you in touch with your permission, the correct advisor that's going to best be a resource to you. We always talk about the planning team here, and we really believe in that we should, getting down to the next bullet point there, collaborate with your advisors and your CPAs and your insurance professionals to integrate your planning with any changes in your life. And I get a question a lot, do I need to have a financial plan and then do my estate planning? And the answer is no. You ideally want both your financial plan and your estate plan to work together from the start, and they're both very fluid planning. It's both very fluid planning. So as your financial plan changes, your estate plan may change, and vice versa. On to the next slide. Other benefits, discounted preparation of deeds. We charge 2/3 the cost typically charged for that work. Enrollment in DocuBank. This is a really good one. DocuBank is a 24-hour healthcare document retrieval service, and it allows access in an emergency to your healthcare documents. So it looks kind of like this. I don't know if you can see that. You get an ID card, and you can name emergency contacts and people you want to be contacted if, for God forbid, you end up in the hospital or have an emergency situation. With the ID number on your card, they can retrieve, the doctors or the hospital or nurses can retrieve your advanced medical directive within seconds, which is really, really helpful. So your doctors are going to know who to speak to. and also what's important to you as far as different choices. You don't have to go running around for it if you have an emergency or trying to tell somebody where it is if they don't already know. Enrollment in EverPlans. This is another really nice piece that honestly not enough people follow through on. It takes some work, but we're here to help you with it. So it's a secure digital archive that can be home to everything that you and your loved ones will need if something happens to you. Your wills, trusts, insurance policies, accounts and passwords, health and medical information, and much more. And as your law firm, we can be an editor on your EverPlan for the legal aspect of things. So if you update your planning on a recurring basis, we can, with your permission, add those documents into your EverPlan. And so we're very happy to do that. You can also name a deputy on your EverPlan, and this is somebody that has read-only access to your full EverPlan. So everything I just mentioned, that person at a specific time or anytime could access your EverPlan as it changes. Family heritage video, again, something that most people don't take advantage of, but we encourage it. I think it's a really great thing. Goals and values are very important in planning, and you want to make those known in your planning. But if you want to set up and create an archival family video through our Elville Studios LLC that Steve runs, you can express your wishes, what you want future generations to know and remember about you, your values, any stories that you want to pass down. And in the age of social media, this is easier, but if you want our help in something concise that you can share with people, we're very happy to do it for you. So, a few things about our events. We always offer a social event in the summer, and it's always really a great time. It's nice fellowship, getting out and doing something a little bit different. So this is another part of the program that we really enjoy and encourage. And your family members and your friends are also very welcome to join you as well. We travel to different places, local for the most part. In the past years, we've been to Toby's Dinner Theater for a couple of shows. They do a wonderful job there. We've gone to Orioles games and other sporting events. The last couple of years, we went to the Orioles game, had great seats, and I'm happy to say we're 2-0 for the games that we've attended. They won both games. Trips to wineries, having private tours with places like Boxwood Winery down in Northern Virginia have been very popular with our members, and Steve as well. Also, what does 2025 bring? Well, that's a great question, and we are always open to ideas as far as what you'd like to do for our social event, your social event. Some things we've been throwing around a little bit are a trip to the Baltimore National Aquarium and having a private tour, which we've heard from different places and friends of the firm that that's a really fun thing to do. I haven't been to the aquarium since I was 10 years old, so I'm sure things have changed dramatically. Perhaps the Olney Theater. That's a very beautiful historic theater in Olney that has some really wonderful events and shows there. We were going to do that right before the pandemic hit, and then the rest is history. So thinking about the B&O Railroad Museum, which is, we've heard from a couple advisory firms that that's been their best client event they've ever offered is at the B&O Railroad Museum. Perhaps another winery event, and maybe a Ravens game, though I can't really think about the Ravens right now after Sunday evening's game. I don't know about you, but I feel bad for Justin Tucker. He's such a good guy, and I think he'll get it back on track. But we have the bye week to figure that out, so I think we will. our education events. We offer these on a quarterly basis, and we have had over the years many very high level and nationally known speakers. We fly them in from different places around the country to speak directly and specifically to our members and their families and friends. And I'm not going to go through the whole list here, but we had Ellen Platt, who's actually local, with the Option Group, talking about navigating longevity. We had a Social Security planning presentation with Kurt Zarnowski. He came down from Norwalk, Connecticut, I think it is. Connecticut? No, Massachusetts, actually. Close enough. A roundtable discussion on the Tax Act with Mr. James Eaton, who's a very high-level tax director and CPA with SC&H Group. Trustee Boot Camp with Dave Bowles. This was a really good presentation. He came up from Texas to present about all things related to trustees. And if you know Steve and you know the firm, trustee selection and management is one of the most important things to understand and think about when you're working through your planning initially and as you have the ongoing updating and maintenance of your plans. Just this past early spring, it was supposed to be a winter event, but we got postponed from snow 2 times. We had Alex Seleznev, who's a really terrific CFP with a financial planner with Capital Square Financial. He gave a great presentation on 529 college savings plans and different advanced strategies to plan for college. And he also, we thought he was so great, we invited him to our recent client event in early November and just did a really great job. Probably the most fun one we've ever done was pretty recently this year. We did an Antiques Roadshow with Todd Peenstra. He's an appraiser of Peenstra Antique Appraisals. And if you've seen the show, Antiques Roadshow, you can intuitively figure out what it was about. But we had people bring in all different types of items from their home, from their childhood, you name it, people brought it. So we even had, and Todd, he would look at the items, the person would come up and share a little bit about the background of the item. And then Todd, based on some of the research he did at the very beginning, while Steve and Gary were giving their presentation, was able to give a pretty good, specific dollar amount for what the value of these items were. And somebody brought in a cigarette case, which you don't see very often these days, but it was from like the 1950s, and it was encrusted in diamonds and rubies, and it was, I think, silver as well. And it was valued at over $25,000. And this person was stunned to find out that what she was holding was worth that amount of money. But it was really a lot of fun. And I think it really resonated with people. So we try to do events that really resonate with people and have some value as well. And I won't read the whole thing here, but one of our dear longtime members who may be on this today, if you are, I know you are, and welcome, gave us a bit of a testimonial, unsolicited, about the impact of our program that featured Todd with the appraisal company. They had different items to look at, jewelry, flatware, boxes of coins and stamps that they didn't have any idea about what the value was. So, and they didn't want their kids to have to address it, in the future. So the goal was to find out the value and declutter. And so Todd referred them to a broker or a buyer, and was able to cash in some of these items that were just literally sitting around doing nothing, and use that money for a good purpose now. So using the money for a good purpose now, instead of having the kids and others addressing it down the road. So it was really just a nice thing to hear that it made such a great impact on this family that's so important to us here at Elville and Associates. And so it says thanks to you, Steve and Gary, for your great client care program events that continue to educate and reward us, and that just makes our day to hear that. Our annual client event, you certainly do not need to be a member to attend our annual client event, but this is a beloved event. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and we just had our most recent one in November and just felt it went really well. The last couple of years, we've had almost 300 people at the event, so it's really grown in scope. The first one that I did back in 2013 when I started here, we were at Linden Hall in Ellicott City, and we had about 60 people there. That was good. But we've grown in scope over the year, and I think our events have really improved as well in many different ways. You can see the different themes that we've offered over the years, from healthcare decision making to working with your advisory team, Medicare concepts, planning for loved ones with disabilities. We had Dr. Anirban Basu, a nationally known economist, come in and give his take on what was going on with the economy and the country. And he was a really funny guy. I think he's probably also a comedian in his spare time as well. So it was a lot of fun. And then we did asset protection, which is something Steve talks a lot about and focuses on, and elder law, again, which is something we focus on a lot here at the firm. 2025, we'll see. We're open to ideas and different topics from people. We want to hear what you're interested in. And we're going to, again, put on a great event in 2025, which is coming up pretty soon. But the planning starts for our client events very early, probably about 8 to 10 months or so before the event takes place. And we put a lot of time and effort into it, and I hope it shows for our clients and our members. So upcoming events, Saturday the 7th, actually, this Saturday, we have Dr. Michelle Fritsch of Retirement Wellness Strategies and Propel Comprehensive Wellness. She is coming up from North Carolina to give a presentation about, it's called From Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda to Can Do Will. I'm going to give you a brief overview of that in just a second. And then Steve and Gary are going to talk about the beneficiary deemed owner trust. So this is a new planning tool for retirement planning assets. And again, typically available for members and families, their families and friends. If you're thinking about the program and you want to check it out, we always welcome you to attend one event to get a feel for it. If you are interested, so like I said, it's a two-part presentation. I'm going to read just a quick overview of the presentation. For Dr. Fritsch, many successful people unknowingly overlook the gap that poses the greatest risk to their future. They're on top of their financial and legal planning, but pay little attention to their health and wellness planning. So why is that? And how will it impact your future? And how would you rate your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social health? And what about medication management? That is a big topic and piece of concern for a lot of people. So she's going to talk about all those things if you want to thrive in your retirement years, to be fueled by a sense of purpose as you check off your bucket list. This is a presentation that you certainly want to attend. And then Steve and Gary are going to talk about the beneficiary deemed owner trust. It's a new planning tool to be educated about. Members will be introduced to a new concept that has come to the forefront over the past 8 to 10 months in the world of estate planning, the beneficiary deemed owner trust, or BDOT. There's an acronym for everything in estate planning, as you probably know at this point. Steve will introduce the BDOT concept and explore its pros and cons, and present members with the opportunity to reconsider how best to leave retirement plan assets to their loved ones. So that's on the 7th. And if you're interested in attending, if you're a member and you're here and you haven't done so, or you want to be a guest, I need to know probably tomorrow, because I need to let the college, it's at Anne Arundel Community College's Arnold campus, and our caterer know how many people we're going to have there. So let me know sooner than later if you haven't done so already. February 15th is going to be our first quarter client program, continuing legal education event. That's tentative, but we're confident that's going to be the date. June is going to be our second quarter event, and then September we're going to have our social event to be determined, and then October 18th or 25th, waiting to hear back from the ballroom, is going to be our annual client event, again at 10 Oaks Ballroom. We've looked at a couple different venues, and based on our size and the scope and the types of presentations and events that we offer, the 10 Oaks Ballroom we feel is still the best option, and it's actually closing down in the next month or two for a full refurbishment per the manager there. So when we go back there, it should be the same ballroom, but even better. And then in December, again, we'll have our fourth quarter continuing education events for 2025. So that kind of wraps up the year. And in between, you're going to make sure that you come in and see the firm for, at the very least, your update and review of your estate plan. So we're pretty much on time. I'm pretty impressed. A path forward for planning that works. So nothing's free, right? But we do charge a fee for the membership. It's a great value. It pays for itself in so many tangible and intangible ways over and over. If you just use, like I said, the 2 hours of attorney time each year, it pays for itself and more. And then all the added benefits that I mentioned, the events are added into that. You get a really good value. And the fees prorated. A lot of clients and members, we always send out renewals in November, and they renew for each calendar year because membership runs every calendar year. But if you wait until June, for example, and you say, I'd like to join the client care program, then that fee is prorated, and we just started doing that a couple of years ago. And that fee's basically cut in half if you join halfway through the year. And from what I've noted and from what I've added up, the yearly value of all the client care program benefits is about $3,000 if you take everything that I just mentioned into consideration. Enrollment is simple. You can see me to get started, send a membership agreement, which you have a copy of. I'm going to send one out afterwards again, along with other information. Read through it, sign it, Steve signs it, and we're off and running. So it's really easy, and you can always reach out to me with any other questions about that. So thank you so much. For my first time, I thought this went pretty well, and I'm glad that you joined me. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can email me at any time. My extension is there, and even if you're a member, I'll give out my cell phone number to you, providing that you don't use it on the weekends or after 9 o'clock at night. So always here, my point is I'm always here to answer questions and be a resource to you in any way. So as we go forward with our webinar series, to end the year, it's hard to believe we have 2 presentations left. Just on January 3rd of 2024, I was doing the intro for Steve for our estate planning and elder law essentials that we typically kick the year off with. It seems like that was yesterday, but here we are on December 3rd, going into the holiday season. So tomorrow on December 4th, there goes the perfect presentation right there. On December 4th, Maryland Able Accounts, a financial tool to promote health, independence, and financial stability. Our dear friend, Kelly Nelson with Maryland Able is going to be back, as she does at least once a year, to talk all things Maryland Able Accounts. And there have been some changes that you want to know about, but it's a wonderful program for families and their loved ones with special needs. Our last presentation of the year is going to be trustee selection and how to choose the right one for you, which we alluded to earlier as being one of the most important topics for clients to understand as far as those decisions related to trustees. And then last one, we start off the new year, January 8th, with our essentials. Why not start with the essentials of estate planning and elder law? And looking forward to hopefully seeing you on one of those presentations. Again, if I can help in any way, let me know. I'm very proud to work here at the firm, and I hope it shows in the work that I do as well as everybody else does here at the firm. And hope to see you as a member of our client care program sometime soon as well. Y'all have a great day, and thank you for being here today.